Fantastic Four First Steps. We were fortunate enough to go to an early screening to check out what Marvel has in store for our first family, and a family they definitely were. The chemistry is what shines brightest in this Fantastic Four iteration. Everybody who was cast, I thought, did an amazing job with their characters to the point where it does feel like first steps in their not just their relationship with us as the viewer, but their relationship together in this next step of taking on a villain of galactic proportions to the point where it doesn't look like we're going to be able to come through. So you really get to see the family pull together against unstoppable odds and really become those heroes we knew they were, but on a much bigger level.
Yeah, this was kind of the first time in a long time when it comes to Marvel that I was really kind of like holding at the edge of my seat. Just the intensity that they had in some of these shots and action sequences, but then also having that lighthearted humor combined worked really well. It definitely felt like they were going back to basics when it comes to the Marvel universe of things that we've loved before, but twisted in a way of like putting it in this sort of world that we've never really seen before, as far as like the aesthetic that they were going for, of that vintage futuristic feel. And I think they did a really good job at doing that. It literally did feel like first steps of trying something different, but also having that familiar sense of what we've gotten before.
And what is it, Matt Shakman, the guy who did WandaVision as well as this. So he kind of does have a tone, right? He does kind of have a feel, a taste for the retro futuristic. And that also added a little bit of Incredibles while we were watching it. Obviously, Michael Giacchino doing the music for this movie as well as the music for Incredibles. So there was, again, familiarity there for that kind of aesthetic. But at the same time, it had a interstellar flair to it in certain aspects, and even a Ghostbusters 2 feel for certain aspects of the story. And combined all together, I thought did make a fluid story. However, it did kind of feel like certain things from this world was missing for me as I'm watching it. So much of what we get from the Fantastic Four, at least in terms of their heroics, is done through highlight reels for TV shows, and that's kind of how they're catching us up, where I kind of want to see more. I'm like, wait, don't we get to find out what these villains look like? No, we're just going to quickly talk about them and move on to the next highlight reel. Now, if you do end up, knowing some of the background for those villains, you probably already in your mind know what they look like. But for a lot of us, we got a lot of names thrown at us, and other than the Underminer or Mole Man, I think, Paul Walter Hauser's character, other than him, we know John Malkovich was supposed to be in the movie as one of them, but then got cut before the movie came out. And to me, it felt like that was missing. Like, where are the other villains that y'all keep talking about in this world? But you don't actually show us any of them. And I know that gives them a little bit of a chance later on if they wanted to do the designs for those villains. They have time to do that, but they kept talking about all this stuff, and for a lot of their accolades and achievements, they show us a quick clip of it and then they move on, and it's like, but I want to see more of the Fantastic Four. But that's not really what this movie does. This movie does heavily focus on the family dynamic, the family conversations, the dinners, the, coming to terms with the reality that maybe the world and the conclusion to how to defeat these beings that are far more powerful than you is bigger than you and your family, and you might have to make some decisions that are incredibly hard, but you do it together. And that's really what the movie focuses in on. So many times I'm like, but wait, and then we're back to very emotional moments, and I'm kind of bored watching, but at the same time, that's just because that ain't for me, you know?
I'm a little bit on the opposite side of that, where I actually really like that they kind of just plopped us into where the Fantastic Four have already been doing this for a little bit. They've kind of established themselves as the Fantastic Four. And then we got those reels through like a TV show and all that stuff of seeing like what they've been up to since since their accident happened or their where they got their powers and all of that. So I like that. And then kind of like, okay, now we are present time in this world, and what they have to face later on. And like you said, it is very much on that family dynamic, and I think that it works well. I mean, it's Fantastic Four, they are a family unit, and so I think that's what they wanted to focus, and I think they did a good job on that part.
Whenever Galactus's conflict was involved, I was in it. Whenever the family is plotting and talking and discussing and researching and thinking, and it happens a lot where I'm like, okay, we're thinking again. All right, well, are we going to put this plan into action yet and see if it works or not? No, we're going through a revised version of that same plan, discussing it. So there is a lot of roundtable discussion when it comes to the family, pretty consistently throughout the movie. And then we jump into the craziness of Galactus and what's going on with Silver Surfer and all of that. I loved. I thought it was awesome. And then there was just not as much in it as I was hoping for, but at the same time, it can't all be action. And I applaud them for that, because it did really give us those characters, and each character, their time to be able to essentially grow on us, because this is a whole new actor playing a character that we are probably familiar with for the most part if you saw any of the Fantastic Four movies of the past. I do think that out of all of them, Ben Grimm probably got the least amount of conflict in terms of what he's going through with his changes. But again, that's just because I got the Chickless era. I got what he had to go through. And there was far more with him struggling with his change. But again, that was right when he changed versus 4 years into him changing, whereas where we are now with this thing. So he's kind of a little over that. And it's just more about him, jokey playing with the kids and lifting things that are heavy. And so at the same time, though, there's plenty of time, and they really weren't lying when they said first steps. It does put us into a trajectory where these are going to be part of the larger story. But having watched stuff leading up to this, with us thinking we knew where the story was probably going to go, they really ripped the rug out from under us, where we have no clue where they're going, honestly, with their story.
Yeah.
Because I'm confused now as to wait a minute, but at the end of this, that happened. And now, in this one, I'm not so sure where we're going to go next.
Which is great. That's what you want to see.
Right.
You want to see your expectations of where you think it's going to go totally change, and they're actually going a different way. And so you kind of have to shift your theories onto something else. And that's kind of what makes it fun. You're and don't go overdo it to where your expectations are, you are so gung-ho in your expectations that you kind of are well, I'm sticking to this, and whatever they do is not right because I think what I thought was better. That's kind of you just kind of have to go in there kind of with an open mind and not expecting certain things, and I think that you would enjoy it. I think each character or each actor playing these characters have a shining moment in this movie, and they run with it. Vanessa Kirby doing a fantastic job. We got Joseph Quinn doing a fantastic job. We've got Eben
Moss.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job. And then, of course, Pedro Pascal. He can do no wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But he does, as I can say, a fantastic job.
That's 4 fantastic.
There we go. The Fantastic Four right there, right? I feel like when Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, coming up with the name Fantastic Four, it worked.
For the powers that they have. And it very much fits this movie. And that's the thing about, one thing I was very surprised with was Pedro's interpretation of Reed Richards blew me away because I wasn't expecting the vulnerability. I wasn't expecting the anxiety of always calculating. And it's like, bro, I feel you. Like I'm constantly not on the level of Reed Richards, but I'm constantly overthinking any situation that I'm in, or if I'm about to do something, I think of all the different ways it could go wrong first. And Reed Richards is a genius, and it's happening on a superpower level of intellect. So this dude is constantly struggling with the fact that, all these calculations can send them any which way, and most of them end up with them dying. So it's like that's a curse for somebody who's so intelligent like Reed Richards. I just overthink stuff. I could imagine having to overthink stuff, and you're a genius. So it's like the way he played that, man, I felt for him. He is very, very vulnerable just because he does kind of see what's coming. And it's very similar to like Doctor Strange, where he can go and see it because he's got the magical, mystical artifacts and powers to be able to do so. But Reed Richards is just a genius, and he can just kind of calculate it all. And when he can't calculate it out and doesn't know where things are going, that's the scariest for him. So they really do focus heavy on that. And I'm glad that they did, because it does add a dimension to the Fantastic Four that we haven't really gotten for at least Reed Richards. But again, when it comes to the villain side of things, I really love that first original Fantastic Four movie that was in early 2000s. R.I.P. Julian, who just passed away, former Doctor Doom. But with this movie, it did, again, feel like the first steps into something greater, to where Galactus is amazing. The design, the look, the artistic design, and the sound design for Galactus was awesome.
Yeah.
But it feels like we didn't get him very much, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah.
So I want more when it comes to the villainy.
Right. We wanted more of Galactus. I did, as far as like the bright, vibrant colors that they had in this movie, with like the bright blue and just kind of those colors, I was hoping that there was more color that they would give to Galactus, where you could see the purple. While you can see the purple there, it does kind of show off. It's not as vibrant than I was hoping that it would be. A little bit more. But like you said, the sound design on certain things that Galactus does, it just kind of scratches that itch when it comes to sound. And the way that I could describe it is when Boba Fett is when Jango Fett is using the blasters, the ion blasters, and it just goes the bong, like that sound. Yeah, the grenades. That's like the way that sound just happens in this movie, is like that same feeling.
Right. What is it? The sonic grenades, the sonic mines.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ralph Ineson, perfect casting as Galactus. And they even utilized some of his facial features too. Like you can see Ralph Ineson in there. So it wasn't just him providing the voice.
Right.
And you do kind of feel for Galactus a little bit. They don't go hard on the story. They give you little nuggets here and there to kind of give you an idea on why he's doing what he's doing. But you do kind of feel for him just a tad, because being a cosmic being that devours worlds is hard work, and it's exhausting, especially when it's insatiable. So, and insatiable. Michael Giacchino's score. The dude doesn't let up on that theme.
No, he does not.
It is varied. It does change up a little bit, but I was hungry for more for Giacchino's music, and for me, it was the theme over and over in just different ways, and it didn't feel like there was a lot of variety there.
Right, which I do love the theme. I think that the theme is great for Fantastic Four, but when you're constantly, okay, here's the theme again, here's the theme again, here's the theme again, even though it is slightly different, it's like when someone's like, yeah, you could copy my work, but change it slightly. And that's kind of what happens. There are moments where I feel like Giacchino is about to pop off, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. And then it kind of dies down. I'm like, oh, I was hoping that there would be some more in there. And so I have to listen to the soundtrack again, because I was also distracted by what was going on in the movie, that maybe just that part kind of slightly like was put set aside because of what I was focusing on in the movie itself. So I'll have to listen to the soundtrack again. But other than that, I think Giacchino, no, just the allowing the atmosphere of the music to follow what we're getting in the movie works.
Yeah, it's a hell of a theme. Like, it's an amazing theme for the Fantastic Four. I just need to go back and listen to more of the music just to see if there's anything else in there, because most of it just kind of felt like that theme that we've been hearing for the last few years that they release. And I just want a little bit more when it comes to what they have to offer musically. Of course, we're always focusing on the music when it comes to this stuff. And Michael Giacchino, amazing. He's done some amazing scores, but at the same time, he's also has some scores that just kind of drop and fall flat. So I was hoping for a little bit more from this one. And, there's plenty of time for them to elaborate on the themes. We know Doomsday is right around the corner for the next iteration of the Fantastic Four, and many other characters are going to be involved in this arc that's going to bring Robert Downey Jr. back.
Which I'm super curious how they're gonna do that. That's kind of where I am. My curiosity of how they're gonna approach that.
Sure.
But we've got a mid-credit scene, and there is also a post-credit scene.
Post-credit scene, a little more fun. Mid-credit scene is definitely crucial to the story.
Yeah.
But the credits music, it was kind of weird. It was about devouring, and I'm sure there's
So
there.
the way that towards
boring.
the end of the end credit scene, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is a song that, because there are things that happen in the movie that they talk about.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's tied into that.
Sure.
thing.
Yeah. I do not like the song. It's a little drab going all the way through the credits to get you to that post-credit scene. And then saving it for last, the last thing to talk about with this movie, Herby. He's such a good
Step
helper.
aside, other androids.
Every robot to ever help
We've got
anybody.
a new android on here. We got a new robot that I hope we get to see a little bit more too. It's always fun to have, that robot companion there too. The design is great. For the world, the mechanics of this robot is good, especially being in like a vintage futuristic world.
Yeah, and it can only go from there because Herby, a very good helper.
Yes.
But Herby can step it up. I'm sure they'll step up the tech. I'm sure they'll step up Herby's capabilities when they need Herby to come in clutch. I think you can get Herby to kick it up a little bit as we get into the future and leave the retro side behind for the most part. Which I'm just assuming Herby's going to come along for the Doomsday story. For all we know, whether he stays back and, protects the baby or something. But either way, man, this movie, Fantastic Four, I will say, I do not want to run back to the theater to watch it again. And it's just because I feel like I got what I needed from this movie and I'm more excited about what's to come. Doesn't mean I didn't like it. There are just things about it that were a little drab for me. Man, the baby, just give the baby to Galactus. Like, I was just like, the baby is just not my thing when it comes to that. It's like Oscar from Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
I've seen this already and we're doing it again.
Yeah,
so.
and I would go run to the theater again to watch it.
So take that for what we thought about it. Are you going to check out Fantastic Four when it drops? Let us know your thoughts so far of what you're hearing. Are you excited? Are you least excited? Less excited? Tell us down in the comments below. You can also like and subscribe.
And do the thing on our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Discord.
All the social networking gin joints, you know where they are. Kick into the party, fuel the party, keep the party going on our Patreon, as well as in the member section on our YouTube channel, where you can check out our movie reaction to Sinners, now available over there. So be sure to check it out. But thanks so much, and as always,
Now it's time to say goodbye.
this party is over.
Bye.
Bye.